Jim Conklin returns to camp to share a rumor that the army will be moving soon. Henry Fleming, a private in the Union Army, returns to his tent and laments the deglorification of battle, hypothesizing that men have lost the war instinct, and that all great battles are a thing of the past. Henry reflects on what drove him to enlist in the army, despite his mother's objections. He relives his heroic journey from his home to Washington, D.C. to join the fight. Since joining his regiment, Henry has experienced nothing but boredom. He secretly worries that he will run when the battle comes.
Jim Conklin's rumor proves to be false. Henry still worries that he will run in battle. The regiment marches all day, but nothing comes of it.
The soldiers march through a dark forest and hear gunfire. They run forward feverishly, building and abandoning trenches each time they stop. Henry is convinced the regiment commanders are leading him to be slaughtered. Henry and his fellow soldiers accuse the commanders of being incompetent.
Henry's regiment stops in a grove. Veteran soldiers mock him and his fellow rookies. The enemy charges and Henry is still not sure if he'll run or fight.
The fight begins. Henry becomes part of the regimental machine. The fight ends and Henry notices the sunshine and the blue skies.
Henry feels he has overcome his fears, until the enemy charges again. Henry, no longer feeling part of the team, pictures the enemy as superhuman soldiers about to trample him. He runs. He overhears generals celebrating their victory. He can't believe it.
Henry resents the victory, accusing his fellow soldiers of being stupid and lucky. He throws a pine cone at a squirrel, watches it scurry, and philosophizes that the natural order of the things is to run from danger.
Henry hears the battle and ironically runs towards it. He joins a column of wounded soldiers. A tattered soldier asks Henry where he has been wounded. Henry runs to the back of the line to avoid answering.
Henry envies the injured soldiers and their red badge of courage. He spots Jim Conklin, who requests Henry move him out of the way when he dies so as to avoid the artillery wagons. Jim eventually runs off the road and dies.
Henry and the Tatar man marvel at Jim Conklin's strength. The Tatar man mistakes Henry for his friend back home and starts gibbering about his family. Henry runs back to the road and lets the Tatar man die.
Henry sees an enthusiastic column of soldiers and wishes to join them. He excuses himself for lack of a rifle. He wanders aimlessly, thinking up an excuse as to why he has been missing.
Henry spots a column of soldiers fleeing. He grabs one by the arm to ask him what was happening. The soldier answers with the butt of his gun upside Henry's head, giving him a wound. A compassionate soldier helps Henry back to his regiment.
Henry returns to his regiment. Everyone is asleep except Wilson, who's on guard, and a corporal. The two take care of Henry's wound.
Henry awakes. Nearly half of the regiment had fled during the battle, only to return in the night.
Henry scorns his fellow soldiers for running wildly as he ran with discretion.
Henry's regiment is led into the woods. Henry curses the commanders and is rebuked by a fellow soldier. He shuts his mouth in order to not be exposed as a coward.
The enemy attacks and Henry feels rage towards the enemy. The regiment marvels at his ferocity.
Henry goes to get water and overhears generals calling his regiment a bunch of expendable mule drivers.
Henry is angry. His regiment charges. Many are killed. Henry is mesmerized by the regiment's flag. The flag bearer is shot down.
Henry takes it from him and leads the charge.
Henry's regiment successfully fends off the enemy. Despite heavy losses, Henry and his fellow soldiers feel confident in their abilities.
Other soldiers poke fun at Henry's regiment for stopping so short of their goal. Henry is stunned to realize how short the distance was. Henry and Wilson are told that the colonel considers them the best fighters in the regiment.
The regiment suffers many losses. Henry continues fighting.
Henry's regiment makes one final charge and forces the enemy to flee. Wilson grabs the enemy's flag as a trophy.
The regiment is ordered back to the river and Henry contemplates his actions.
This is the end of the Red Badge of Courage.